Hi, my name is Paweł Gajda and I am Android developer at LPassion. Today I would like to give you a talk about clean code style. So I will try to focus on Android and Kotlin, but most of the talk, apart from some tooling specific specification, is applicable to any platform, any language. So let's go. Here's the agenda of my talk. I'll start with answering the question, what is code style? Then I'll move to code style guidelines for Android and Kotlin. And then some tooling support here, starting from IDE code style settings and starting code analyzers. So let's try to answer the question, what is code style? Oh, I forgot I can use it. So code style is the way we create source code, we write new source code, and how it looks. The way I or you create source code, and this way we can see in each file we write down. What's important here, everyone has his own preferred style. I don't want to say there is the only good way to write code. It is based on our preferences. Our code style evolves as we learn. So when we come from different backgrounds, we might have some experience in different technologies like .NET or some dynamically typed programming languages like JavaScript. That all has impact on our code style. So I want to say here that there is no better or worse coding style. We can also call it coding style or programming style. Yeah, you know it. So that's really basic, I think. But there are some problems with code styles. So where the problems lie? This meme exactly answers my question. Yeah, the problems lie in development team. So as I said, everyone has his own preferred code style. So until we are not alone developers in a project, we share code with others, so everyone has his own preferred code style, so this doesn't merge. Yeah. So this is how code styles work in development team. So yeah, someone might use semicolons in Kotlin. It's not forbidden, so we can. Yeah, the answer is we should. But not everyone uses wildcard imports. Yeah, how many of you use wildcard imports? Okay, no one. Okay, good. So maybe in some Java meetup there will be different voices. Okay. So when we receive changes from our teammate or our coworker, we might often find some changes that doesn't add new feature or fix a bug. So this is, I'd like now go through a few Git diffs. So on the left and on the right we have different code styles. So on the left we have no wildcard imports. On the right we have wildcard imports everywhere. So here another difference in code styles. On the left we have indent size set to 4 spaces. On the right we have 2 indent size. Yeah, this guy likes this indent size. However, the default setting is on the left. Yeah. Here another change. if we change max line length in IDE settings, it will reformat our code to code style on the right. And here another extreme code style when we use additional space after parameter name before a column. Yeah, I also saw it in few source codes. So, how to write code in a team? Such a simple question. The answer is simple, with code style guidelines. So, what are code style guidelines? We can define code style guidelines as rules that we should follow in the team, or in the project, or even in the department. So here's my definition of code style guidelines. It is a set of rules defined as consistent coding conventions in the team or project or even department to keep code base clean. When code base is clean? Code base is clean if every file in the repository looks same. Maybe not same, but it has same style. So then we can say the code style is clean. What's more, such guidelines provide faster onboarding for new team members. How we can achieve it? We can write down all the rules we want to follow in a single file, maybe markdown file, and push it to the repo. So when we have onboarding of a new team member, we can tell him to read it or to contribute to change it, because code style might change and evolve as well. Because each new team member causes our team to be actually a new team, not old one. So code style guidelines also enhance code review to focus only on important things. But to achieve it, that requires some automation, and I will talk about it later in this talk. Okay, so now I'll try to focus on Android and on Kotlin. So how we can define code style guidelines in our team or on a project? Should we start from the scratch, reinvent the wheel? Actually, we can follow some official style guides. The first are Kotlin coding conventions from JetBrains. You can find them in official Kotlin language reference site. And the other one is Android Kotlin style guide. It's from Google. So primary contributor was Jay Quarton. It's available on GitHub, so you can read it, contribute to it if you don't agree with some stuff. Okay. This repo has actually many pull requests. Some of them are already merged outside Google. So when we go back, how to apply these coding conventions, how to apply this style guide to our project or in our department. We don't want to do it on our own manually. So there should be a way to do it automatically. So if you use Android Studio or IntelliJ IDEA, you can use code style settings and apply Kotlin style guide directly from editor preferences in Kotlin styled tab. And there is a way to set predefined style from Kotlin style guide. Actually, this slide will be deprecated soon. If you read Kotlin blog, last week there was a new article announcing Kotlin 1.3, and starting with new version of Kotlin, all new projects created in IDE will use the code style settings to comply with the official coding conventions. What does it mean? Every new project that supports Kotlin 1.3 will follow these Kotlin coding conventions by default. There's additional Gradle property, Kotlin code style, that we can set to obsolete or official. So thank you, JetBrains. What about this second Android Kotlin style guide? Why we have two style guides for Kotlin? That might be strange, but yeah, they have some differences. I think Android Kotlin style guide is more restricting. For example, in Android, Kotlin style guide from Google, wildcard imports are not allowed. So I'm glad you don't use it. Don't use them. And we cannot apply Google style guides right now in Android Studio. We have to do it on our own. So we can open editor code style settings and then switch the radio button value from default one that is set to use import with wildcard symbol to use single name import. So we can now open Android Studio to check where it is. Okay, I'll toggle presentation mode. Here I am. Okay, and let's open code style. Maybe faster here. And here we can play with both Kotlin code style settings and XML when we target Android. So, for example, in Android XML code style settings, we can define some matching rules. This is very usable. In one of our projects, we defined some additional matching rules to for layout margins or constraint layout. So every one who made some changes in layout files, we sort the attributes the same way. So yeah, in Kotlin we can, for example, change tab size here, indent, or use tab character, and okay, you can check it. Here is this single name import change. All these settings I will apply here are saved to idea code style project XML file. So this is the next slide. How to share code style settings with Git, because we all might have some preferences set in IDE, but until we share it, we will have changes when we commit and push to the repo. So to do it, we need to set code style scheme to project, and then unignore this code style directory I've just showed you where it is located. So there might be the case not every developer in your team on your project use Android Studio or IntelliJ IDEA, maybe Eclipse or NetBeans, yeah. Quite deprecated, but still works. So how to deal with it? There's editor config tool that overrides IDE settings. So in single editor config file, we can define properties such as indent style or indent size. We can match every file or just Kotlin files. So let's try it maybe now. I'll open my project again. I'll revert current changes. And let's create a new file called editor config. I can assure that my Android Studio supports editor config. Yeah, it's on. Okay, so let's now maybe. Okay, so let's change indent size to 6. I'll save the file and reformat code now. Okay, you can see we have 6 spaces indent size. Okay, we are back here. So yeah, if you have some teammates who don't like JetBrains products, you can still maintain code in your project. Next, static code analysis. So how to automate it outside of IDE. What's static code analysis? It stays in contrast to dynamic code analysis, such as running unit tests and Android tests. And static code analysis doesn't require our execution of our code. So example here is Android Lint. So it's just making some analysis of our code structure. It generates abstract syntax tree, then next it converts it to some different trees, yeah, and after a while, after a few seconds, we have a complete result without compiling our source code. So what are Kotlin static code analyzers for Android or Kotlin? I say or Kotlin, and I will tell you why. So right now we have Android Lint, ktlint, and detect. We have also some different tools like findbugs and checkstyle, but they're very popular mainly in Java. I don't know if they support Kotlin as well. So Android Lint, you must know it if you're Android developers. It was introduced in 2011 by Google or previous company maybe. And it checks Kotlin code since 2017. But as you know, it focuses on Android-specific issues. But since Android Gradle plugin 3.1, it targets also plain Java and Kotlin modules. So that's why I said these analyzers are for Android or Kotlin projects and modules. So yes, Android Lint has a list of some issues that mainly target Android, but some of them might be useful even in plain Java or Kotlin modules. So we have 2 Gradle tasks related to Android Lint. First is just Lint. So it checks and runs Lint on our module or the whole project. And another one is Lint fix that runs Lint and applies safe suggestions to the source code. It is not able to fix all issues in our code because it's not based on machine learning and it can't invent a new property name, but yeah, it focuses on safe suggestions. So we can configure lint options. It has many properties in Gradle. For example, we can disable Gradle dependency check. So if there's a new version of any dependency in our project or module, we can disable fixing, bumping up it to the new version. We can run Android Lint on our code. Okay, I'm back. So let's run lint fix. It should take a few seconds, I hope. I have some cache. Here are my, oh, not here. I don't have lint options, okay. Few more seconds. Okay, as you can see, it incremented, not incremented, but updated few dependencies in my Gradle, build Gradle file. So it works. It didn't touch actually this login activity file. Yeah, I want to tell you it's not my file, it's just a file generated by Android Studio Wizard somewhere. So let's go back. So we have Android Lint, but we have some also unofficial, I would say, tools for static code analysis like ktlint. So ktlint targets only Kotlin, and what's good with ktlint, it's simple. There's no configuration, and it tries to reflect both JetBrains and Google style guides. So as I told you, we can apply JetBrains code styles out of just in IDE, but Google style guides, we don't have it in Android Studio right now. So we can do it with ktlint. Ktlint also have built-in formatter like Android Lint, this lint fix. So we can run ktlint to not perform formatting or ktlint format to fix our code. Maybe let's try it again in our project. Reverting changes. I also delete this editor config file because it might override some preferences. Okay, and let's run ktlint format. Yeah, it's even faster than Android Lint. Maybe it's less complicated. So we have two issues. The first is wildcard import, and it cannot be auto-corrected since it's just static code analysis. So did it perform any changes to our code? Yes. Or maybe not. So we have Android Lint, ktlint, and detect. So we use right now detect in all our Kotlin projects. So it adds code smells analysis. So if you read Uncle Bob's clean code, you know what are code smells. We can define and highly configure rule sets in detect YAML config file. It also provides a wrapper over ktlint, so we can use ktlint inside detect. It also has some IntelliJ plugin that should work like Android Lint plugin, but right now it's not so far advanced. It just highlights issues in our code, but when we correct the issues, we need to run a Gradle task to dismiss this highlight. So we can run detect using detect task, and let's do it now. And detect task. While it's executing, okay, it's already done. Yeah, we have this plain text report here, but detect like Android Lint also generate report in XML, in check style format, and HTML like here. So it divided all the issues into categories, complexity, formatting, naming, style. Detect resulted with much more issues. That's because if you look at detect config YAML file, it has many issues that it's tried to track. So it's also open source like detect. So there are many contributors. Right now we have Hacktoberfest, so you can contribute to detect and add some more your rules or fix ones. Fix some of them. We have also here such properties like autocorrect. This is ktlint also integration, so it fixes some issues that it's able to fix and fail fast, that it ignores this configs here, focusing on default issues, set preferences. Okay, I told you about detect. And in the end, I'd like to tell you that you can extend your CI workflow with static code analyzers. So here you can see stats from one project and what was the build step duration. So if we add static code analysis and as a first build step, it might execute in few milliseconds, while running unit tests or Android tests takes more time because it's not a static check. So what is conclusion from my talk? Delegate code style maintenance to IDE and static code analyzers, not do it on your own during code review. Select the tool that best suits your team's preferences. We use detect, but you might prefer to use ktlint because you don't want to configure it on your own. You want to delegate it to ktlint contributors. So that's okay. You might also rely just only on IDE code style settings. That's also okay. The only conclusion is to automate it as much as possible to make it clean and have a clean code style in your all projects. And yeah, so thank you.
I don't know what are the limitations of this editor config tool. Can I config only formatting related properties of my IDE, or?
Yeah, I think it's the issues type are mainly formatting. You can check editor configs site, and here is the list of all the.
Actually, we don't have the screen.
Okay, sorry. So, yeah, it looks quite old. Yeah, but as you can see, there are mainly formatting issues like indent or new line at the end of the file. Yeah, but the main advantage is that it supports all the popular IDEs. So, yeah, it maybe not targets Kotlin, but rather JavaScript or such languages.
Yes, sure, but I like it the most because it allows you to create a difference between the default settings and the one you want to achieve, and it is very compacted and easy to review. In comparison to, for example, detect, when you have this.
Yeah, and yes, also I didn't talk about it, but ktlint probably supports editor config to extend add some new rules, so it's possible too. So, any more questions? If not, tweet me.
Detect can be used in a mixed Java Kotlin project?
Actually, I know that Detect doesn't support Java file. There is a kind of visitor pattern, and yeah, it only analyzes Kotlin code. So maybe that's because of these differences in. Yeah, in Kotlin we have more access to the bytecode, and yeah. More questions? If not, thank you.